Hey guys, welcome back to Contest Prep University. I'm Joe Klemczewski with Adam Atkinson. We're going to talk about how long of an off season you might need. So we left off with kind of reversing out metabolic building up into a higher food intake level, but how far and how fast you want that to go. I would say, Adam, that probably my most successful post-contest heading into an off-season arrangement was when I decided I was going to let myself gain 2 pounds a month. So I was shifting calories up, and of course, in that initial stage, you might not even gain weight. You could even still be losing a little bit. But once I got rolling, I was able to track for just a certain amount of time because I had strength training goals. I wanted to move my squat and deadlift up substantially. So I needed to see weight increase every time just to make the physics of training better. So how do you handle that in terms of telling a client, let's just gain 5 pounds or 10 pounds or whatever criteria you use? How do you have that conversation?
Yeah, it's nice to give people a goal so then you don't just put on that 10 pounds right away, because then we know all of that's just going to be body fat. So really putting goals out there and just saying, I don't want to see your weight go above this between like this month. And, we all have accidents sometimes and weight goes up a little higher. A lot of people make knee-jerk reactions and pull intake down. A lot of times you just need to reestablish consistency. So really talking about consistency and being patient, just like we're patient with weight loss, we need to be just as patient for the gain. So
yeah, I really like what you said there, because coming out of a pre-contest season, there can be a lot of chaos, and even the best plans you may think you have created can go to hell in a handbasket pretty quickly. So, always keeping one eye on that long-term arc of what you want your off-season to be can be helpful to handle some of those chaotic, dynamic, stressors as you're leaving the contest season. But do you like people, Adam, to have a full year or 6 months or sometimes 2 or 3 years? How do you gauge, where a client should be in your opinion?
yeah, I like about a year at least, and then maybe even a little longer. One trend I'm seeing, I just see girls coming back with very minimal improvements, or they're just competing for almost the whole season. And then by the time they come back around, everyone they used to beat in the show is now better than them because they actually took the time off. Also, too, just hormonally, it's good to have some time off as well. And I think it depends on, the person and their goal. But if you're going to a national level to get a pro card, you best believe you better show up with changes, because your competition's going to be stiffer, not only with the girls you know about or the guys you know about. There's always 1 or 2 people in your class that you don't know about that's going to show up next year.
Yeah, really, really good point. I know it's difficult sometimes because contest to contest, we want to see improvement, and so it can feel like an eternity to have to wait for the next year, or maybe just compete once or twice and then be in an off season. But you really do have to consider making change. Physical change does take time, and it takes off season. So I would definitely start adopting that perspective that the hard work is done in the off season. That's where you make improvements. And then that'll make the actual contest season even that much more meaningful, I think, for most people.
Yeah, I think a big trend is, coaches bringing a lot of athletes to these shows, and that's good for the coach, but it's not always good for the athlete. And I think you really have to consider, is your coach doing what's good for you as an athlete? It's great if I bring, 10, 11 girls to nationals, but I found I do best when I bring a small amount of people, quality, and the ones that need to grow are actually sit on the bench for a year or 2. And then when they're ready, they come in really strong also.
Yeah, and speaking of trends, think of all of the top coaches we know as friends, people like Eric Helms, Paul Ravella, Ryan Doris, people like that, Chris Barricats, who literally do take 2, 3, 4, 5 years or more between contests. So if the best coaches know that it takes that long to make real improvements and just keep that passion in the sport, definitely a good note to everybody else.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, hang in there with us. We're going to continue on. We're about halfway through this series on planning your off season, and we're going to keep rolling with some new topics soon.